entertainmentbuddha.com.
Hey guys, Zach from Entertainment Buddha here. I recently sat down with 343 Industries and Creative Assembly to see Halo Wars 2 with my own eyes. Whether or not you played the original real-time strategy game, Halo Wars 2 airdrops you onto the battlefield of recent events current to the Halo timeline. Atriox is a new villain that eclipses the power and intelligence of previous antagonists, and he's trying to eradicate Captain Cutter and crew. That's you. After all, you're inadvertently standing between him and an unfathomable control over the universe, so I guess that's really all the motivation anyone needs to go on a murderous rampage. Halo Wars 2 portrays the Halo world from a different perspective in a myriad of ways, separating itself from the immediate gratification of the FPS and building upon the foundation of the original Halo Wars before it. I was thrown into one of the game's campaign missions before anything else, and that gave me the opportunity to familiarize myself with the console's control scheme within an RTS format. It's a relatively simple objective: capture the points, claim victory. Unit management and map navigation came quickly and easily because of its simplicity, and I was naturally zipping around the map selecting and directing my troops into the unexplored fog before long. Map exploration and experimentation with gameplay mechanics is not only encouraged, it's rewarded. This map was noticeably bigger than any landscape found in Halo Wars 1, so it was pretty easy to get distracted from the main objective. I was pretty sure in my ability to comb the desert, but upon seeing how many challenges remained incomplete when looking at the victory screen, I quickly came to realize just how much Halo Wars 2 missions can offer in terms of content. Any sense of story progression was completely omitted, however, and the lack of narrative meat left me wanting so much more than the single mission's attempt at avoiding spoilers. Nevertheless, completing a single mission left me feeling fully prepared for the multiplayer match that followed. This 40-minute match was as neck and neck as it gets, but I was not alone. The mode was 2v2 deathmatch. My teammate and I started each with our own base on the west side of the map, and immediately started planning out our strategy to violently push our forces east to take over the other team's bases, by completely destroying them. While you can't place your buildings wherever you'd like, the designated spots surrounding the static bases up for control offer their own strange form of strategy. The placement of your buildings will make some spots harder to defend based off the local geography, so putting your supply depots and generators up at the front to take the brunt of countless inevitable assaults may not be the best way to go. These two buildings are especially important as they speed up the automatic generation of the two resources used for unit and building construction and upgrades. Supply and energy, respectively. This was my first personal priority. My teammate and I kept as small skirmishes with our opponents for as long as we could, but time constraints born from the nature of the preview event quickly began to force us into larger-scaled battles. None of our preparation seemed to matter in the face of adversity, however. Nothing we did could have prevented the slaughter brought from the opposing team. I tried to employ some strategic positioning by using designated areas to teleport my troops to other spots of the map, but nothing worked, except for the leader powers. Depending on which of the 6 available leaders you pick from at the start, there are various abilities to be used that can influence the outcome of battle, and heavily. Restoration fields heal fatally injured units, giant beams of destruction tear through the sky and onto the battlefield. Troops can be shrouded in a multiplication effect to confuse opponents as they attempt to distinguish which are the real units. Options are there, for sure, and they're unable to be abused thanks to the heavy cooldowns on them. By utilizing everything we could, our enemy's focused attack on my teammate's main base resulted in just a few retreating enemy squadrons, but not before they demolished all but 1 or 2 of his buildings with a small group of ground troops awkwardly staring at the rubble. This is about when I discovered a life-saving feature in the spectrum of team-based combat, the ability to give my partner incremental resources. And thanks to my surplus that I had unintentionally set up in the beginning of the match, I had plenty to spare. I gave him all that I could, and I essentially wished him the best of luck as we tried to regroup for a counterattack. He picked himself back up though, and I supported him through my character's leader powers while my units began to destroy the enemy team's smaller bases they had set up outside of their perimeter. We ultimately came back and won the game, which still remains a pretty remarkable memory for having just picked up the controls and diving headfirst into a large-scale war. With a hefty amount of adrenaline running through my nerd veins, the following games in Halo Wars 2 New Blitz mode acted as a welcome departure from the typical real-time strategy formula. Blitz is an important experiment for the genre as it blends together aspects from real-time strategy and trading card games to provide a pretty unique experience. You still get to pick from the same 6 leaders, but this time they each have their own unique cards tied to their identity and playstyle. There are no bases, there are no leader powers. There is only you, your cards, your enemy, and the capture points to control by outplaying your opponent. Each deck consists of 12 cards, of which you can hold 4 at a time. These cards aren't free, however, and each one costs a specific amount of energy to play. The importance of having high-cost, high-impact cards harmoniously mingling with lower-cost grunts is quickly realized, for sure. Each unit employs a rock-paper-scissors element to their identity, making the very choice of which unit to summon influenced by strategic counters to what your opponent is playing. 1v1 scenarios lean on quick decision-making skills and a well-thought-out deck to persevere, but strategy exponentially intensifies when adding a teammate or two. Decks can be crafted specifically to create some pretty devastating combos with other decks, and that provides a completely different perspective on theory crafting. If you play your cards right, I am genuinely sorry about that, but it stays, you'll capture 2 of the 3 points and hang on to them long enough to gain enough to win. These games are as fun as they are quick, and they are most certainly a welcome, intriguing addition to the series. Halo Wars 2 has a lot to offer for new Halo blood and old Halo veterans alike. From this game's perspective, you really do feel like Captain Cutter looking down at all the troops he sends to their martyr-like deaths. It's an ideologically different take on an iconic series that helps to build its world in a way that a first-person shooter cannot. And the competitive nature that brews from the countdown of every multiplayer match has the potential to expand on the series' community in a way unlike any iteration before it. Halo Wars 2 gifted me with a lot of memorable moments in the short amount of time I spent with it. As long as the game maintains an unwavering enthusiasm to keep this level of quality throughout, February 21st is going to be a great day for Xbox One and PC gamers alike.
Entertainmentbuilder.com